Have you ever pondered that thrilling moment when your eyes meet a stranger's and suddenly you feel a deep, inexplicable connection? Words seem unnecessary, formalities feel empty, and a strange yet powerful sense of peace arises within you. It's as if your heart, which had been holding its breath until that moment, finally exhales and whispers, "You're home." This isn't just a mere coincidence or a random twist of fate. Carl Jung would call this phenomenon synchronicity, a moment when two souls meet not by chance, but because their inner vibrations resonate at the same frequency. It's a rare and potent experience when everything else in the world loses its significance. Conversations become profound, silence becomes comfortable, and there's no need to wear masks or explain your actions, because this person not only hears every word, but also feels the energy emanating from the depths of your soul. However, it's important to remember one crucial thing that many prefer not to talk about. Not every deep connection is destined to last forever. Some people come into our lives not to stay in them permanently, but to awaken us. They appear like a storm, powerful, unforgettable, and before we even realize what's happening, they're gone, leaving behind a multitude of questions, glimmers of clarity, and sometimes a lingering crack in the heart. So how do we recognize the true nature of a relationship? How do we understand whether the person we've met is our destined soulmate or merely a reflection of our personal traumas, a stage on our path to self-improvement, or a reminder of an unhealed wound? This question requires careful analysis, as some connections are predetermined, while others offer valuable lessons. The inability to distinguish between these two types of relationships can lead to clinging to an illusion while missing the real opportunity bestowed upon us by fate. First and foremost, it's worth paying attention to synchronicity. Fated encounters occur at precisely the right time, when the soul unmistakably recognizes a kindred spirit in another person. It's not just physical attraction or admiration for external qualities, status or charm. It's something much deeper, like an echo of something familiar that the soul instantly recognizes. Psychologist Carl Jung called this phenomenon synchronicity, emphasizing the significance of coincidences when the intersection of two people occurs not by chance, but due to profound reasons. He argued that behind all conscious decisions lies an invisible connection that unites people through energy, frequency, and vibration. When this connection is tuned in, the alignment of two souls occurs in complete harmony, without any prior planning. Relationships between people can be born out of logical reasoning, shared interests, time spent together, or an inexplicable physical attraction. However, the strongest and deepest connections arise in silence, in an energetic field where words are superfluous, but the attraction is undeniable. That's why you can pass by thousands of people without experiencing anything, and then meet one single person and feel a whole spectrum of emotions. It's not about external manifestations, but about the resonance of souls. Imagine your soul as a piano. And then a person appears who touches a key you didn't even know existed. Suddenly you remember a part of yourself that was dormant. This person awakens something special in you, not because they bring it from the outside, but because they reflect your own essence. This is the main secret. You don't fall in love with the person themselves, but with the version of yourself that blossoms in their presence. Perhaps this person reveals your tenderness and gentleness in a world that tries to harden you. Perhaps they challenge you, forcing you to grow and develop despite your fear. Perhaps they reflect your pain in such a way that you are finally forced to face it. This is the magic of synchronicity, not in ideal circumstances but in perfect alignment. These people appear at the moment when your soul is ready for change, not when you are completely healed or when your life is flawless, but when you are broken enough to accept a deeper truth. After all, some people come into our lives not to stay forever, but to awaken us. They are not your eternity, but your mirror, your guide, your spark, your storm. They shake up your world, not to destroy it, but to show you what has always been dormant inside you. The next time life brings you together with someone, and your intuition tells you that it's not just a coincidence, don't rush to ask, Who is this person? Instead, delve into self-reflection and ask yourself, what facet of my personality do they reflect? As the great psychologist Carl Jung stated, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Think about it for a moment. Looking back on past relationships, haven't you ever experienced déjà vu? Different faces, different circumstances, but invariably the same repeating scenario, the same pain, the same feeling of rejection, the same emotional breakdown. This is not bad luck or a curse of failures in your personal life. It is your internal unhealed pain that makes decisions, determining your choices. Paradoxical but true. We attract into our lives not what we crave, but what we truly are. More precisely, we attract those who reflect our inner wounds, those aspects of our personality that desperately need healing. When wounds fester in the depths of a child's psyche, caused by a sense of inadequacy, fate seems to deliberately bring a person together with those who only confirm this painful certainty. If unhealed pain of abandonment lurks in the heart, it is not surprising that the chosen one becomes someone who repeatedly leaves a gaping void. When self-esteem is like a fragile sandcastle, attraction arises to those who do not miss the opportunity to question the value of personality. And this is not due to the malicious intent of the universe, but to the desperate attempt of the soul to draw attention to itself. Pain is not a punishment sent from above, but a wise mentor leading along the thorny path of self-knowledge. Each painful breakup is not a curse hanging over fate, but a valuable lesson taught by life. It exposes bleeding wounds, reflecting those corners of the soul where the whisper, "I am far from healing," is still heard. However, most people prefer not to listen to these quiet voices blaming their partner, cursing love, and building impregnable emotional walls. But the truth is that it is not about the other person, but about the mirror that he holds up to us. Relationships, especially those that cause suffering, are mirrors that reflect the inner world. They do not create wounds, but only expose them, bringing to light buried fears, unexperienced traumas, and secret stories that a person tells himself in private. And until there is courage to look into this mirror, not with a sense of guilt and self-flagellation, but with honesty and openness, fate will repeatedly throw up the same lessons, clothed in different guises. The personalities encountered on the life path, prone to ignoring, seem to reflect the deeply rooted fear of loneliness that lives in the soul. Those who force you to seek their favor unwittingly expose the hidden belief in the need to deserve love, as if it is not something given by right, but an unconditional gift. Emotionally detached people who appear on the horizon serve as a reflection of their own avoidance of vulnerability, fear of opening their soul to feelings. Every person who appears in life is a message carrying a certain meaning. Every separation is a call to awakening, an impetus to awareness. And here lies the harsh truth. It is impossible to heal from wounds where they were inflicted, but it is possible to find healing by comprehending the reasons why the attraction to this pain initially arose. Not all soulmates stay in life forever. Sometimes there are people who burst into fate like a forest fire, suddenly, intensely, uncontrollably. They do not burden themselves with calls, do not wait for an invitation, but simply appear, and the world will never be the same. They were not sought, their appearance was not prepared for, but something in their presence creates a sense of home, as if the soul remembers them from time immemorial, when time did not yet exist. Everything about them is shocking, the connection, like a current, piercing through and through, the chemistry that arises between two opposites, conversations that drag on until dawn, silence that speaks more than any words. And then the belief is born that this is fate itself, that this is true love, that this is the one and only person. But suddenly they disappear, leaving only the emptiness that they so easily filled, and the agonizing question arises, how could something that seemed so right and natural dissolve so quickly and without a trace? Everything is questioned. Was it reality, or just a figment of the imagination? Was the connection mutual, or did it exist only unilaterally? Is all this just an illusion created by a rampant imagination? In the world of human relationships, there is a truth that not everyone is ready to accept. Not all soulmates stay in a person's life forever. Of course, their existence is real and the connection with them is significant, but this is not a guarantee of an eternal union. Some soulmates appear in people's lives not to stay, but for the purpose of awakening. They arise in moments when a person's soul is in a state of slumber, when they forget their worth and settle for less, when the truth is buried so deep that their voice becomes unrecognizable. These souls arrive like fire to dispel illusions, shatter false beliefs, and break the heart so that it may finally open. This process is painful, and rightfully so, as growth always involves pain. The renowned psychologist Carl Jung once remarked that the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. In modern society, there is an obsession with finding the one, the perfect soulmate, who will complete one's personality. However, the harsh reality is that no one can complete a person if they are not whole themselves. Love dictated by hunger is not true love, but rather desperation and dependency, an attempt to fill a void that cannot be filled by another person. People attract what they are, not what they want. If a person's soul is full of chaos, confusion, and unresolved trauma, they will attract people who reflect that chaos. This is not due to the cruelty of the universe, but its consistency. That's why broken people often fall for those who are unavailable. Insecure individuals pursue those who are distant, and lonely people settle for less than they deserve. This is not fate, but a frequency that never lies. Energy does not respond to desires, it responds to beliefs, vibrations, and self-worth. When a person moves through life feeling a desperate need for love, approval, and emotional support, they risk attracting partners who reflect this inner craving rather than their own wholeness. Such relationships tend not to bring peace, but only fuel a sense of inner instability. The intensity of feelings devoid of a solid foundation is like a flame consuming everything in its path. Often, such destructive dynamics are mistaken for passion, when in reality it is merely pain in disguise. Romantic fantasies may be nothing more than trauma playing out a carefully prepared drama. True love manifests not as dependency but as a sense of harmony and unity. It originates not in the moment of meeting another person, but in the process of becoming a personality, striving for wholeness. Wholeness does not imply invulnerability to life's adversities, but rather the ability to heal one's own emotional wounds without expecting someone else to take on that role. It involves the courage to face one's dark sides, heal past wounds, and learn to give oneself the love that one once desperately needed. By attaining wholeness, a person stops seeking those who merely fill an inner void and begins to attract people who resonate with their inner world. The pursuit of fleeting emotional highs is replaced by a desire to build relationships that foster continuous growth. There is no magic or luck involved. It is a natural result of emotional maturity. Changing one's internal state leads to changes in relationships. People who once seemed attractive begin to be perceived as a source of chaos. Those who previously ignored you no longer hold interest, and souls destined for the healed version of oneself appear in life effortlessly. Love finds a person when they no longer need it as a salvation. It comes when the question, "Who will complete me?" is replaced by the affirmation, "I am whole, I am worthy, I am already good enough." Only then does love cease to be a transaction and transform into a transformation, when two self-sufficient individuals choose each other, not out of fear of loneliness, but out of strength and mutual attraction. In situations where repeated failures in personal life lead to emotional exhaustion, the author encourages readers to re-evaluate their priorities and turn to their inner world instead of seeking external love. It is necessary to focus on healing emotional wounds, boosting self-esteem, and developing personal potential. It is asserted that inner harmony and energy are the key to fulfilling and healthy relationships. Chapter 5, titled The Illusion of Forever, examines the widespread belief, rooted in fairy tales and wedding vows, that true love should be eternal. Society instills that genuine feelings do not fade, and forever is the ultimate goal of any relationship. However, life experience shows that not every soul is destined to remain in our lives forever, and this does not devalue the connection experienced. Each encounter has its purpose and its duration. Some people come to teach us how to love, others to teach us how to let go. Some people reflect our best qualities, while others serve as a cautionary tale against undesirable paths of development. It's important to understand that even painful relationships, leaving behind emotional wounds and doubts about one's own worth, are valuable lessons disguised as love. The main mistake lies not in the fact that the relationship ended, but in desperate attempts to hold on to it when its time has already passed. People resort to begging, stalking, and compromising, trying to fit into the framework of a connection that their soul has already outgrown. As a result, suffering arises not from changes in the partner, but from the inability to accept one's own changes and move on. As one spiritually develops and one's energetic frequency increases, certain people are inevitably and naturally filtered out of one's life. This is not related to their negative qualities or personal failures, but rather reflects the evolution of souls going different ways. No amount of effort, persuasion, or nostalgic feelings can restore harmony between souls whose trajectories have diverged. This process can be compared to trying to wear shoes that once fit perfectly, but now cause discomfort and pain with every step. You can force yourself, but it will lead to bleeding. Something similar happens when a person clings to relationships with those whose vibration no longer matches their own. Emotional exhaustion, mental suffering, and spiritual stagnation become inevitable consequences because love, in its essence, should not be a prison, but a portal to growth, truth, and freedom. When the purpose of a soul connection is achieved, it becomes obvious. There comes a period of silence, disconnection, a feeling of mismatch, even if memories of past closeness are still alive. At this moment, it takes courage to let go of the illusion of forever, to honor the love for its contribution, and to move on when it ceases to nourish the soul. Letting go does not mean neglect, but rather recognizing the priority of one's own growth over fear. It means realizing that by letting go of others, one finds oneself. The person who existed within the framework of the previous relationship was in the process of learning, searching, and fearing loneliness. But now a transformation has taken place. There comes an understanding that no connection is worth sacrificing one's own evolution for. It is not worth wasting energy on fruitless attempts to bring back what is gone. Let go of those who were important to you in the past. Thank them for the experience you shared, and move forward with an open heart and a readiness for new opportunities. True love does not hold you in the past, but gives you the freedom for personal growth and self-realization. As Carl Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. It's easy to blame others for the pain, betrayal, or changes they caused, but what if the people who hurt us are actually reflecting aspects of our personality that we refuse to acknowledge? What if the person who caused us suffering was not a villain, but a mirror reflecting our own shortcomings and unresolved problems? Our emotional reactions and behavioral patterns are not random. They are messages coming from the depths of our subconscious and soul. When someone irritates us, shows disrespect, or makes us feel insignificant, it is important to pay attention not only to that person, but also to what they reflect in ourselves. Every relationship, especially painful ones, acts as a mirror, showing our vulnerable spots, unhealed wounds, and areas that need healing. Think about the person you can't forget, the recurring conversations, the endless analysis of messages, and the memories you cling to as if they were an unhealed wound. Remember that the mirror always reflects the truth that we may have long been ready to see. It shows us those aspects of our personality that need healing and acceptance. Chapter 7. The Union of Two Mature Hearts. After a series of painful breakups and exhausting relationships, a turning point arrives. After sleepless nights filled with doubts about one's own worth, a transformation takes place deep within the soul. The person stops obsessively seeking attention, begging for love, and adapting to other people's expectations, and instead begins a painstaking work on themselves. They look in the mirror and bravely face the old wounds they previously tried to hide. They carefully untangle the complex knots of childhood traumas, realizing that they were once taught that love must be earned. They stop running away from their dark sides and, on the contrary, find a place for them in their soul. They learn to give themselves the support and approval they have been vainly seeking in others for many years. And at some point, on this difficult path, healing comes, perhaps not complete or perfect, but enough to stand confidently on their own feet and defend their interests. And then something amazing happens. A kindred spirit enters your life, not to mend old wounds or fill an inner void, but to meet you as you are, here and now. There's no room for games, manipulation, or chasing. Gone is the exhausting anxiety mistaken for passion. There is only deep resonance, complete understanding and peace. There's no longer a need to prove your worth or abandon yourself to be noticed. The fear of silence dissipates as this person's presence feels like coming home. This is a love that doesn't provoke turmoil but bestows serenity. It doesn't leave you tormented by doubts but instills a sense of security. For the first time, this feeling isn't perceived as plunging into an abyss, but as a breath of fresh air. You begin to laugh more often, relax more easily, and trust more deeply. It's not about the partner's perfection, but your own wholeness, enabling you to remain unbroken even if the ideal proves unattainable. The need for rescue vanishes, as salvation has already occurred. There's no need to fill the void, as it's already filled with meaning, healing, and personal growth. So what happens when two self-sufficient individuals meet? Magic arises, not the kind that blinds, but the kind that creates. It's not fleeting fireworks, but a slowly kindling fire, warm, steady, and genuine. There's no place for obsession, only profound recognition, like two travelers finally returning home after long searches. They don't complete each other because they were never incomplete. They enrich each other. A partner's presence doesn't fix life, but amplifies the joy you've already created within it. Love doesn't heal wounds, but honors the strength you gained in healing them. This kind of love is sacred, not because of drama or intensity, but because of honesty, ease, and being rooted in mutual respect and self-awareness. It's a reward for the inner work done, a prize for choosing oneself, a divine manifestation arising when you stop settling for chaos in the name of an illusory connection. In the process of healing, as you diligently shed layers of emotional wounds and learn to accept your pain, it's important not to stop there. When the work on yourself is complete, when the past is accepted and understood, when you learn to love your own existence, that's when that special person will appear. They will come not to save you, but to move forward together, hand in hand. This call, once made by Carl Jung, echoes in life itself. You must stop searching for love outside yourself and turn your gaze inward. For the deep and touching connection you dream of at night is hidden not in someone else but within yourself. The person you so hope to meet cannot be found until you have found yourself. And this refers not only to the polished aspects of your personality, not only to achievements, smiles, and strengths. It encompasses those parts of yourself that have been buried deep inside: fears, guilt, shame, and wounds. Carl Jung once wisely observed that vision becomes clear only when you look into your heart. He who looks outside dreams, he who looks inside awakens. For a long time you have lived in a world of dreams, but now it is time to wake up. You must look within yourself, heal your emotional wounds, accept your shadows, and destroy the lies that have told you that love must be earned, that you must constantly prove something. The truth is that you attract not what you desire, but what you are. Therefore, if you aspire to a love that is whole, a connection that is sacred, a relationship that transform into an embodiment of serenity, attain inner harmony, become a center of spirituality, become an epitome of peace, dedicate yourself to this inner work, listen to the voice of your soul, and the people who are destined to enter your life will appear in it not by chance. The powerful energy emanating from you will, like a magnet, draw them into your orbit. This will not be a random coincidence, but a natural correspondence of vibrations. This is your personal challenge, your unique journey, your long-awaited awakening. Are you ready to accept it? If this message has deeply resonated with your soul, if something within you has stirred as you listen to these words, it is not a coincidence. Your soul desperately needed this impulse. It has been whispering quietly for a long time and is now roaring deafeningly. This is your sign, your reflection in the mirror, your moment to shine. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting for someone to come and save you from your problems. Stop chasing what is slipping away from your true worth. It is time to take fate into your own hands and start acting. Face the truth, heal your emotional wounds, forgive those who have hurt you, not for their sake, but for your own inner freedom. Let go of everything that no longer aligns with your future, and rise to the level of the person you have always dreamed of becoming. Remember that true growth happens not in hustle and ostentatious activity, but in silence, in solitude, in self-respect. Everything you have been searching for is already within you.